Welcome, this is G. You're watching Allastrology and Cancer. This one is for you. We're going to talk about your December and we're going to go over the astrology like normal. And then we're going to give you some cards for each event so you have a beautiful visual. This month there is one ending, and two new beginnings. So let's begin. We are starting off the month of December with an ending. It is a closure. It is a completion. It is a release and a let go sort of thing. Now, think of this as just a completion. Think of it as a cycle that it's just, think of the seasons, right? Spring, summer, winter, fall. There's just a natural rhythm of the ebb and flow of when things begin, the duration, and then when they come to the conclusion. Like when you finish a book or when you finish watching a movie, right? Think of it like this. We have, for you, Cancer, this closing and this ending, it has like a Gemini vibration to it, right? And so when I say Gemini, just think of the way I talk, the way I think, the way I relate and communicate, right? And these would be like any sort of communication. So literally, if we're speaking face to face, like people in your immediate environment, your local community, sibling type of energy or peers, right? Could be coworkers, even next door neighbors. This can be people who you go out into your community and you're having conversations with, right? So like merchant energy. Now, what's different for Cancer is that this happens in the location of your 12th house. Yeah, that's the astrology bit. Happens in your 12th house. So what does that mean? Well, the 12th house would make these communications hidden. Yeah. Now, what the heck can that be? Well, everybody's got free will. So this can go a whole lot of different ways. I'm hearing like a whole lot of different things and again, this is just to explore the plethora of options of how each individual's, being a sovereign being and how they can express their free will, right? So think about hidden communications. Well, emails are sort of hidden communications, aren't they? Yeah. I know a friend who was a writer because this is a creative placement. I'll just start off on a positive note. It's the hidden, but it's also very creative. So people who are like Gemini energies, they're the scribes, right? They're the writers, right? They keep track of things. They're, the reporter energy. Like this is my observations and I'm writing it down. Being in the 12th house would make somebody a poet, right? So you could be someone who writes poetry or who even does screenplays, who writes music, somebody who, a rapper. This would be a good location for a rapper because it's got this poetic vibration to it. So rhyming is a big deal, but there's a whole lot more to poetry other than just rhymes, right? So it's got that tone, right? Now, that's on a very positive, creative, high frequency expression. When we look at all the different people in our lives, not everybody operates in that way, right? There's a lot of different folks. So some people can take it to be like, maybe they literally are having hidden communication. So what's a hidden communication? Again, it can be an email. People have these like private chats, right? Like Facebook, you can private chat somebody, I think that is, because I'm barely ever there. And even like the other social platforms, it's the same thing. You can DM somebody, right? Which is a personal message online, which is Gemini, by the way, social media, which is also Gemini, by the way. But because it's private, right? Think of Snapchat, think of, and I'm not really good with all these. It's been a million years since I've been on Snapchat. But anyway, any of these direct messaging outlets that you can do on a social platform is exactly this. So some of that is ending for you. Maybe you're quitting a social platform. And if you are, then that means you're not going to be doing this anymore, right? It could also be people who literally send snail mail, right? Postcards, birthday cards, right? It's a way that you're sharing something that you've written and it's not in the public eye. Okay. Or if it is in the public eye, if it is, we don't know it's from you necessarily. Think about that. Think about people who write screenplays or director, like people who do the behind the scenes stuff. Right. We don't see them. They don't get the accolades. They're not in the spotlight. They're not on the stage. Or people who write music, who write the lyrics to songs, right? This would be that. The person who's singing it, we're like, oh man, this is such a great song they wrote. For how many years, when you were a child, did you not realize, well, maybe some of you, but how many years did it take before you realized the singer was not the writer, right? They didn't write the actual music or the lyrics even, right? Or both, right? So it's kind of like that sort of energy. Something's just ending. Now, the degrees, it's at 16 degrees of Gemini. If you're playing along at home, if you've got your own chart, look up 16 degrees and see if you have something there. If you do, this will be pronounced. It'll be a bigger deal in your life. You'll be like, oh, this is what she was talking about. This is that ending. So this is December 7th. Could be a couple days before, a couple days after, because if you have things around 16 degrees, so that would mean like 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, right? Maybe 12 is too big of an orb, but either way, you get my drift. If you don't know and you want to know, if you got questions, just comment to me below so I can clarify this for you. Okay. Now let's pull a card for you. I did a whole lot of mixing ahead of time, so the first card wouldn't have to be so me just shuffling the whole time. And I'm dealing with lighting issues and all that good stuff. So we're going to give it one quick shuffle. They're telling me to do something different. So I'll do something different. I'm going to follow what they tell me. I know the microphone's placed in a different spot, so you might, just want you to be able to see everything. So it's like, there's no funny business, right? Yeah. See the cards. You can't see a darn thing. I almost need to go all the way over here with the cards, right? Yeah. Okay. Get a little bit more creative, G. All right. I can do that. And so we're going to shuffle them up. So let's just go like that. That's annoying me. I am going to, because I'm not going to have the camera down there. So we're just going to split the deck. I'll put that one down there. So that means we're working with just this deck. And they're saying to split this one again. Aren't we creative? We're splitting it again right there. And we'll take the card right on top for you. Bam. Okay, ready? So this is going to be for your closure and your ending December 7th. And this is like Leo and Cancer energy. So it tells me, fascinating, this closure will bring you a new beginning because it's the sun and the moon energy. It is masculine and feminine energies coming together, but see how they're facing different directions, but yet they're not separate. They have different goals, different ambitions, different moods, different timings, different cycles. They're still together, but they're just facing different directions. So what's great about this for this full moon, actually, because it's Gemini, and yes, Cancer, you're on this card. You see that? Your sign is up there. The moon is your ruler. So the moon is all about being in my emotions and my feelings, right? And so be creative with things, understanding that this release and this let go will allow you to begin something new. Look at that. Yeah, that's what it means when we get the sun and the moon together. This release and let go is preparing you for a new beginning. It's a creative, fun endeavor, possibly, because it's got Leo on there. So it's something that makes you feel like a child again, possibly something you did when you were a kid, right? Something that you enjoyed that you didn't make time for. Whatever this is, I love it because it's a new beginning. And so this brings a positive aspect. This is a nice card. This is a very positive aspect. It's masculine and feminine energy. Could these be people? Well, let me run down the list of people. If I already didn't, I think I did. Next door neighbors, siblings, coworkers, peers, people in your community that you do business with, right? You go out into your community. Remember, online community people you do business with too, right? Something ending, but yet something beginning. It's going to be creative. It's going to be fun. And this is your ending, which is bringing you a beginning. You're blessed, Cancer. Let's get this back into the shuffle for you and talk about the next new thing. The next new thing happens towards the middle of December. All right, middle of December, we have Jupiter. Jupiter's changing its sign. It's going from Pisces forwards into Aries energy. So what this means is I want you to think back to June of 2022. Think back to June. That's when Jupiter first touched upon Aries energy. It's freedoms of my body, actions of my body, body autonomy, right? We heard the Supreme Court ruling then. This is when this happened, when we had the Supreme Court ruling. So there's likely going to be another Supreme Court ruling coming about that we'll be hearing about because it's on a world axis point. And so I'm not going to talk any more about that. It just means it's big and it's global and it's, not just your own life, unless you have something at 0 degrees in Aries. Okay. So look that up for yourself. If you're not sure and if you need help, just comment to me below and I can clarify for you. What I can tell you additionally is that your Arian energy is in your 11th house. So this speaks to your social online presence because that is 11th house energy. It's friends and it's groups, online groups, but it can be friends and people that we meet in person. But remember, it's group energy. So I have a friend who belongs to, he's really into soccer, right? He's really into soccer. And so he belongs to a football club. This would be that. This is absolutely the house of volunteer because it's the 11th house, and that is the humanitarian. So we volunteer when we have 11th house energy. And if it's the physical body, it's something that includes you likely with independent action. Even though you belong to a group, you're taking independent action within that group. Okay. And it might even include something physical, like something where you would consider it's a challenge to my body, but I want to do it, right? Because it could be working out. It could be, it's like a team sport, but yet each individual has independent actions within that sport. You think of a baseball team, it's a team, yet each individual has a position on that team and they have to know what they're doing in those positions. And we acknowledge and recognize them because of the positions that they hold. And that was just a quick example. Okay. I'm not a big sports person, so there's probably better examples. If you can think of one, give me one. Now, that will make us a little bit more impatient and fiery because it's Jupiter going into Aries. Aries is impatient. It wants to be fast. So the only thing we got to remember is to slow our actions down. If we're planning on taking an action, we want to think it through first because the Arian energy with Jupiter touching in, it makes us just super impulsive, like we don't think it through, right? We leap before looking. And so many times some people get injured when these things happen because it's like we don't look to see where we're stepping and we may trip or something, right? And it's only because Jupiter coming in, it makes Aries even more impulsive, less patient. Yeah. So easily irritated, more irritable than usual. Right. Right. So this is all the way until the first 4 months of 2023. I believe it's April. It's your impulsiveness. It's impulsiveness for all of us, but it's your friends and your group energy. Okay. So they're saying to just grab that card right off the top, which is fine by me. Are you ready? Let's take a peek and see what we got for you. And remember, Jupiter in Aries. Alrighty, so this looks a little mischievous or mischievous, however you want to put that word. What this is Scorpio energy. Very powerful energy. Scorpio is intense. It's got soul energy connected to it, right? You got soul, literally, when you get assisted with this card. This card is almost magical, which is why you see the flames behind this energy. It's almost like this is a metaphysician or a magician in some way, or this is just showing there's a lot of power here and your emotions, fiery emotions. You see all the fire in the background? You see how they have the moon on this card? They're saying to recognize there may be some fiery emotions, something may happen with friends, but keep in mind that it's not so much what happens with the friends right now. That might not make sense. Here's why. Because the moon represents your past, and that's what's on this card. Okay. So what happens is the current friends or whatever occurs, whatever happens, whatever conversation there is, it triggers something from the past for you. Okay. But what they're saying is you can take that emotion and create with it. Emotions are literally the fuel for manifesting in the material, tangible world. And as a magician, which is what this card is supplying you with, the magician energy, they're saying you have the ability to do that, to make that happen. So just remember to think, to use your emotions wisely, and to channel them into creative forms, new creative forms for yourself. And you'll benefit that way. You're going to manifest something, and it will help you to release those hurts and those wounds from the past. So, yeah, you got power and you got soul energy with you. Okay, so now we're going to the new beginning. It is a new moon energy, Cancer. Okay, it's a new moon energy. And when we have new moons, it was like that other card I showed you, your first card, which showed the sun and the moon together, the masculine and the feminine together. Yeah, what's great about that energy is it is a new beginning, right? But it's kind of like a balanced new beginning. We're confident because it's the sun and the moon together. It's like our emotions match the way we express, right? We're confident in how we're shining and how we're radiating. We're confident and courageous in our uniqueness and in our individuality, right? So this is a beautiful thing to have. Now, where is it happening in your life, right? So the new moon is happening in Capricorn energy, which I love for you, because for Capricorn, it's about goals and ambitions, right? It's about long-term financial security, right? It's opposite of who you are. You're Cancer energy, and Cancer and Capricorn are exactly opposite of each other, right? They balance each other out, actually. So this is a Cancer, feelings, mom, family, emotions, and Capricorn is up here, which is masculine energy, which is my goals, my ambitions, which is my duty, my responsibility. It's yeah, masculine, right? It's like the one who has to go out to work to provide for the home. You see how they're connected? So what happens is new moon in Capricorn, this will balance you. This will be good for you. This will be really beneficial for you. And if it's tangible long-term security, I'm loving that. Now, where does this happen in your life? This is happening, yeah, in your seventh house. So this is significant one-on-one relationships, business partnerships, long-term partnerships, but they're not like, I mean, they can be marriages. There are many folks who get married and, especially people who have to live through arranged marriages. Those are definitely like Capricorn marriages where it's a practical setup. It's, we're getting married because we have, there's family history or family ties or blood bonds or whatever, but it's to secure the resources, the finances, the money, right? Or to get more, right? You got to take someone who's affluent, right? Who's got X amount of dollars and who's going to marry someone who's equal, And so having Capricorn energy here, it's your long-term commitments, your long-term relationships. They have a business tone to them. They are aligned with your goals and your ambitions, right? Professional goals, professional ambitions, professional business relationships. So this is beautiful. This is beautiful. This can have to do with the way that you relate with people. When you say that I have a friend who I'm thinking of who may deal with people one-on-one, because that's the other part of this, right? This is government energy. This is big business energy, right? Somebody who literally works for a big business and is a partnership. Yeah, financial partnership energy. What's great is it's long term. And so we commit and we sign contracts. It's all, everything's on the table. It's all up and up kind of energy. We everything's on the table. We can see the contract. We're dotting the I's. We're crossing the T's. We're seeing where the commitments are. They're in print. They're in black and white. There's nothing hidden here. And so that is wonderful, because when we have it so clearly stated, and then from there we state our goals, and we have our 2-year plan and our 5-year and our 10-year plan, right? And then we have a partnership and we can work towards it together. This is what's happening with your new moon. All of that. Isn't that crazy? Like, that's pretty powerful. So now the degrees of this, I'm going to give those out because that's important. It's at 132 in Capricorn. It's connected to the world axis point. Okay. So when we're connected to the world axis point, it's normally something big, right? It's kind of like what I talked about earlier when I talked about the Jupiter energy in Aries. That was also near a world axis point. So there can be some stress that happens, some testing energy, might even be a little frustrating. That's to be expected. The government may be involved in some way, or quite possibly just somebody who's older than you, somebody who's in charge, someone who seems to be an authority figure in your life for you, right? So for many people, it's their parents. They're their authority figure. Sometimes it's the clergy, right? Just depends who the authority is in your life. It could be a boss. If you got a job and there's somebody who's above you, then they're the authority of you. Yeah. So this is 132 in the sign of Capricorn, and it is at 4:16 a.m. This is Central Time, 4:16 a.m. New moon energy. So if you're writing your prayers down, your intentions, your wishes, you want to do it 8 hours before that time. And that's normally when that new moon energy of building is the strongest. Now, let me pull a card for you. They said, you can feel it. It's right there. I'm like, okay, you're right. I can feel it. Ooh, I like this for you. You're going to like this. Woo-hoo-hoo. But you got the king energy. Yay. Isn't that awesome? The king is in charge. This says you're in charge. of communications. See the Gemini energy up there, talking and relating, social media, communications, neighbors, siblings, peers. But it's an act. Keep that in mind. It's an act. It's something that you're doing, but it's an act. It's almost like you're putting on a show or a play. See the Leo energy on the other corner with the sun? That's Leo energy. So that's a performance of some sort, but you're in charge. You're the one with the speaking parts. Yeah, you got the role. Yeah, you're speaking, and yeah, you're speaking from a point of being the one in charge. You've got the kingly role. So it's about courage. It's about courage and being willing to go out there and to be on the stage and not being afraid. You've totally got the courage from the Leo, right? To step out there, to be in the spotlight and have fun with it. The only thing they're saying is to just be careful of some of the words sometimes, because that Mercury energy, that Gemini, is really playful. Can be very playful, super contradictory, sometimes a little gossipy. They're saying to just be aware of that, because sometimes the king can be a little full of himself and not be aware of his ego, but to just have fun. And as long as you're making it clear that things are for fun and possibly jokes, right? Performing, then everything will be okay. But that reminder might need to be, reiterated more often than not, just so that the lines of communication can stay open. That it's a show, okay? That it's for fun, and it's to be entertaining at the end of the day, right? It's to be entertaining, and that you do a good job with that. And this Leo energy is here to support you. Happy December, Cancer. Below the video, I'll have all the degrees for those of you who like to pay attention to the degrees in your chart. Again, if you don't know and you want to know, just comment below.